basketball. Today's game between the Syracuse Orangemen and Jim Boeheim is now in his 11th season at his alma mater, a record of 245 and 77. The starting lineup, Howard Trish will open at one forward spot for the Orangemen, along with the freshman Derek Coleman, and the biggest man on the court, Ronnie Cycli.
Could be the best front line by tournament time in the country.
In the backcourt, Greg Monroe and the real key, Sherman Douglas, who joins him there.
Two young men growing by leaps and bounds every ball game.
Bill Frieder's Michigan team in the NCAAs the last couple of years. He's now in his 7th season at the University of Michigan. He'll have Glenn Rice at one forward spot, and Mark Hughes also up front, and the third man on the front line, who really is a guard, Antoine Joubert.
Yes, and people that have to play an outstanding basketball game for this Michigan team to have any success today.
And in the backcourt, Gary Grant, the junior out of Ohio, and he is joined there by a fine three-point shooter, Guard Thompson.
Their strength. That's the glue right here with those two players, outstanding ball players, and they're going to have the big game.
13,600 on hand. The series record at 5-3. The last two meetings between the teams took place in the NIT tournament. In 81, Syracuse won it by 15, and in 71, when Michigan captured a 6-point victory. Other than that, they've not met since the 38-39 season. And Derek Coleman, number 44, controls now for Syracuse.
Right away, Vern, we're going to see the man-to-man defense by Michigan. The big matchup is Douglas and Grant. Grant must stop the penetration of Douglas.
This is Greg Monroe inside the cycle. He turned around. Jumper is good. Well, that's equals the number of points he had in their last outing against Boston College when Ronnie Cycli really disappeared. Good start for Cycli.
Now we'll see the 2-3 zone. The reason for this is to keep the guards of Michigan out of the lane area.
Along the baseline, the drive, and dish off, and the basket is up. Uses 360 twice and drops through.
Oh, that goes to Grant. Just a great penetration there against the zone. Created that easy basket.
Now Gary Grant on Sherman Douglas out on the top of the key. This is Howard Trish. Left side, they look inside for Cycli, get it to him. He's double-teamed, nearly trapped and taken away by Glenn Rice. Left side, three-point shot, Monroe, short. And the rebound taken by Rice of Michigan. Joubert, and they'll set it after Hughes gives it back to Antoine Joubert. 4 of the 5 Michigan starters scoring in double figures. Guard Thompson left side and Joubert. Now, they really are operating in a 3-guard offense here, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. You know, Joubert did play a lot of guard, and we'll see him playing a lot of guard when they rotate and bring somebody off the bench to replace either Thompson or one of the other people on the court.
From 3, it's good.
One of the problems with Thompson is he kind of disappears during phases of the game, and I think it's important for Michigan that he comes out and establishes himself early.
His first name is Gard, G-A-R-D-E. Thompson hits the three-pointer. First foul of the game on Gary Grant. Many of you may have seen the Michigan-Indiana game Monday night, and when this man collected 3 fouls, Gary Grant in the first half, it really hampered Michigan's effort in that game.
That's an understatement how he affected it, because while he was on the court, they outscored Indiana 71-53, so you see his value, and he can't afford to pick up a cheap second foul here.
Douglas looks inside, tries to find Cycli. Thompson tips it away. Gary Grant, 2-on-2. Off that.
Well, he went to church this morning, I can tell you that much.
Looked like a Truman Capote answered prayers.
And that really got this crowd into the game because Michigan is known to be quiet.
That'll quiet them just as quickly. Monroe gets 2. Here comes Joubert with the answer.
Well, I think that Houston-Boston game was quick. Look at this one. They're really going up and down the court.
9-4 Michigan. Top of the key to Trish. Bill Frieder won a traveling violation. Cycli's second turnaround, gets the soft roll and falls in.
Well, what's going to matter? If that keeps happening, Hughes is going to have to get some help. He's going to have to do one or two things. Either front Cycli, or he's got to force him further out on the court. If he catches the ball 8 feet from the basket, he just turns and has that size advantage. He can shoot that all day.
Thompson thinks about another three-pointer. Glenn Rice back to Thompson. And again, there's zone defense employed by Syracuse. Now, here's the three-pointer from Grant. Not there. And Cycli with a rebound. There's the attempted fast break. And let's watch Ronnie Cycli again.
Now, here's how he got open. Now, see, no one was aware of him. Hughes did not know where he was. He did not have good position between ball and man.
That turnover, and there's Ronnie Cycli in the last game against Boston College. 2 free throws in the last 8 seconds of the game. He shot only 3 times in the first half and had a season-low 2 points, but he's got 4 so far. 16:43 to go first half. 9-6 Michigan lead.
Douglas came out right there, and Thompson's in the basketball game. I wonder if he hurt himself.
Stephen Thompson, freshman from California. And there's Cycli with a rebound. Sherman Douglas was bothered by tendonitis during practice here yesterday. And Stephen Thompson, the freshman guard, has taken his place. Trish, almost taken away. Trapped, double teamed, possession arrow, shows Michigan's ball.
Isn't that great hustle? See 3 players down on the floor scrambling for it. You know, Bill Burden was concerned about his team after playing 2 tough games during this past week against Indiana and Michigan State, if they would be alive emotionally and ready to play. Well, you saw right there they were.
Sherman Douglas had their lead practice for short periods of time yesterday. And he's on the bench now, bothered with tendonitis. Glenn Rice, bounce pass out, top of the key, Joubert. It's a 9-6 Michigan lead at the 16-minute mark of the first half. Nice bounce pass underneath. But Vaught, who just came off the bench, Lloyd Vaught, the freshman, can't handle it.
He didn't come to meet the ball.
There's Gary Coleman, and a steal. Gary Grant tried to get a little wave with some acrobatics, and now the basket will not count.
That was just a great defensive play by Monroe. Grant has to protect the ball better when he's going to the hoop that way.
9-6 Michigan. Timeout on the court. Steele's coming into the game. Watch him. He is the man at whom the arrow is pointing, Billy Cunningham.
Picture-perfect defense. Extending his left arm to deny that pass. Gets out in the open court. The one thing he'll do is you'll notice he does not keep the ball between his man and his body. See, and that's why Monroe is able to stick that hand in and knock it loose. That was great hustle by Monroe.
We're at 9-6. Vern Lundquist, Billy Cunningham on the campus of the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. Syracuse with 4 turnovers already, and Michigan with 2.
You know, something interesting, too, Vern, is that Syracuse does not see many man-to-man defenses. They see a lot of zones in the Big East. So now they're seeing not only a good defensive team, but one of the best defensive players in Grant out here who really can put some defensive pressure on them.
Coleman, nice pass underneath the Cycli, and misses the step shot. And there's a steal. Stephen Thompson will put it up and make sure it goes through. Thompson with his first 2 off the bench today.
Well, Stephen Thompson is that freshman from Springfield High School in L.A., and he was the player of the year out in California.
15 minutes and 14 seconds to go first half. A 9-8 game now. Guard Thompson. Back to Gary Grant. And that zone defense again employed by Jim Boeheim since his onset. 2-3 zone. Interesting why he said he wanted to play that defense.
Yes, because he felt a couple of things. Number one, that Michigan does not see many zone defenses. Playing in the Big Ten, so many man-to-man teams in this conference.
Battle for the ball. Thompson has it. Number 32. Greg Monroe pulls up, lets the jumper fly. Rebound. Taken down by Lloyd Vaught.
Well, Vaught has really come in and has done such a better job defensively than Hughes. He's been running, and he's been getting down the defensive board.
Thompson has 2 more. Boy, that'll be a big key for Syracuse now if the freshman from California can replace Sherman Douglas and do so with a scoring serve.
Well, their freshman on the Syracuse team has really done a great job with Cycli being injured earlier in the year with that foot problem he's had. Coleman is taking up the slack on the boards and leads the team in rebounding.
Glenn Rice. Rice's 2 give Michigan the lead again. 11-10 with 13:58 to go first half.
I would think Jimmy Boeheim wouldn't be too concerned with Rice shooting that long jump shot. He's more concerned with him in the inside.
Watch Ronnie Cycli underneath.
Yeah, he's just not aggressive. He's not aware of where his man is. Hands are down. Okay? They have to, I think in the inside they have to become a little more aggressive, Syracuse.
You like for him to be more of a football prototype.
Yeah, I'd love to see him have a little mean streak in him. You know, like the middle linebacker in football. You know, when he goes after the rebounds or blocking shots, being more aggressive.
From the corner, that's shot by Griffin, the freshman, number 20. Mike Griffin, who's in the lineup, is short.
I think Derek Comley's a little nervous out here today. Coming home, playing here in Detroit. First time being recruited by Michigan. They wanted him very badly, but he decided on Syracuse.
Sherman Douglas back in the lineup now. Thompson gets a rest. No, it's Monroe who's out. Let's check the lineups. We've got Douglas and Trish along with Cycli, Stephen Thompson, and Monroe. And there's Howard Trish.
That was excellent execution offensively. They ran Trish off a double screen, and they were able to get him that basketball in the lane.
Mike Griffin, the freshman, true freshman, is in the lineup. He's got the ball right now, number 20. Looks inside. Glenn Rice, turnaround jumper again. And there's Cycli not near him.
Got to get up on it. When that ball gets in the middle, when you play against the 2-3 zone, the vulnerable area is right in that lane area. And that's what Rice did right there.
Watch the Michigan man-for-man from the end court now. Trish again. Rebound, Coleman puts it up and in.
That might get him started. Let him relax a little bit. That was a tough shot Trish tried.
14-13, Syracuse lead. 12:40 to go first half. For three, short. And Thompson comes down with it for the Orange man.
Zubair had made his mind up. He was going to shoot that one.
Watch Derek Coleman.
Yeah, look at the great position he had before the shot went up. That's what you have to do to be a good offensive rebounder. Anticipate the shot.
Now the ball to be inbounded by Syracuse. Sherman Douglas, number 20. From the corner, Trish. Take it. Long rebound.
I would love to see him. He'll reach his full potential when he gets that and just takes it back and dunks the basketball. Because that will intimidate the players on the other team.
That shot not there. The Syracuse inbound. And watch Cycli moving inside again.
He does a great job getting that position for the rebound, battles his way in, get it right there, go right up over Zubair and dunk the basketball. Don't be a finesse player. You know, when you're 6'10", you're not a finesse player.
Now we've got some controversy with Jim Boeheim. And there was a foul called on the last play on Howard Trish.
Yeah, they caught him for pushing.
And Boeheim is upset. There's Trish. Zubair inbounds, back to Griffin. Mike Griffin from Franklin Park, Illinois. Now Gary Grant with the skip pass. Antoine Zubair. Zubair again. Grant. No, beautiful pass. Got to be goaltending.
That was great ball movement. Made that extra pass at the offensive end of the court. Grant unselfishly found that open man underneath. You know, when you play against the zone defense, there's a couple of things you want to do. Either you can penetrate the seam, looking to get into that lane area, or you must move the ball crisply.
Not only goaltending, there was a foul called, and we're going to have a shooting violation here.
Let's see if we can see that foul. I didn't see it at first. Yeah, he came over the back. Now, I wonder if they'll call that foul after the shot and make it a one-on-one shot.
That's what they're going to check right now. Boeheim wants to know the answer. One shot. Goaltending and one shot. Okay. So Glenn Rice will go to the free throw line. Sophomore from Flint, Michigan. Three-pointer for Michigan. Glenn Rice gets the basket. We have 11:59 to go first half, and we're not at 16.
Here, Doris. Got a meeting in Davenport. Be back tomorrow.
We have a multi-talented colleague joining us at halftime. Back in the late 60s, early 70s, he was an All-American tackle here at the University of Michigan. The name is Dan Deerdorf. How much has he aged? Well, take a look. He's with us right now. He's with an old friend of his.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Vern. And I'm with Michigan coach Bo Schembechler. And Bo, the good news is I've got some eligibility left.
Well, Dan, at your position, you were the best we ever had, but you look a little out of shape now.
Oh, thanks a lot. What do you think about the game so far, Coach?
The game is an excellent game, although the hitting isn't real intense, is it?
Maybe if a couple guys dropped, that would make you a little happier.
It'll look a little better anyway. Look a little tougher.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
All right, right, Vern, back to you.
Okay, Dan, and Dan will be along with halftime. See, he handles basketball as well as football. So whatever he wants to do, we say fine.
As big as he is, who would argue with him?
Absolutely.
So far, Vern, what we've seen is we talked about the inside play. Neither team has been able to establish themselves defensively inside. I think the one that does is going to win this ball game.
And draws the foul underneath. And substitutions getting ready to come in now for Syracuse. We're live at Chrysler Arena in Ann Arbor. Vern Lundquist, Bill Cunningham, and Dan Dierdorf. Syracuse and Michigan 16-16 right now. 11:48 to go in the first half. Hareed has come in. Herman Hareed now number 33 for Syracuse. So let's check their lineup. Monroe, Douglas are the guards. Cycli, Coleman, and Herman Hareed, number 33. From the corner, Douglas is short. Guard Thompson with a rebound. And here comes Michigan pushing the ball forward. Pass along the baseline. Rice goes up for two. Rejected. Thompson with a follow. Nice outlet pass. Now Gary Grant will try and settle things down. Skip pass. Tipped away. Rice. Good effort.
Michigan was fortunate. Bad pass.
Mark Hughes, number 55, gives Michigan a 2-point lead.
But one thing you can see is that both teams, if you don't handle the ball well, you're careless with it, there's a lot of quick hands out on that court.
5 turnovers apiece now. Coleman almost loses it, and Grant steals it again. Coleman with a foul. Frustration.
We've seen a Syracuse team the last 2 times down the court. The shot by Douglas, the play by Coleman, they're pressing a little bit. They have to be able to take a deep breath. Coleman's got to keep things under control. Now look at the guards. Thompson giving the great help, and there's Grant coming back in and creating that turnover.
In the meantime, Howard Trish, if you look at that battle for the ball, Howard Trish getting ready to come in. At the next opportunity, Bill Frieder up off the bench. Michigan has guard Thompson and Gary Grant, along with Mark Hughes, Glenn Rice, and Mike Griffin in the lineup now. So Gilbert on the bench. 18-16, 10:45 to go first half.
You know, it's interesting what Cycli said about playing with this team.
Boy, there's a great pass from Thompson.
Outstanding. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Jimmy Boeheim go to a man-to-man shortly because he's getting hurt in this 2-3 zone. But Cycli said he is enjoying playing basketball so much more this year, even though with his injury, than he did last year because everybody's playing as a team, as one.
Bounce pass from the baseline. Cycli. It's controlled by Coleman. He'll go to the line. As a matter of fact, all 5 of these Michigan starters are in double figures, and each of them at one point or another has led the team in scoring. Each has scored in one particular game more than 22 points. Gilbert comes back in now. And Derek Coleman, whose family and friends are sitting right behind us, he had to get 20 tickets for this game. Back home, he's from Detroit.
That was some statement Jimmy Boeheim made about Derek Coleman, feeling he would be very shortly the best forward that's ever played in the Big East, and definitely a first-team All-America within a year or two.
Said he's the best forward he's ever coached.
Best player he's ever recruited. That's quite a statement.
He's 6'9", and apparently, Bill, has the potential to play in the backcourt. Reminds me of somebody named Johnson on the West Coast.
You know, when you're 6'9", just stay up front. Leave that ball handling to the little guys. They'll get you the ball when you're in the right position.
Howard Trish comes out. Coleman will get a rest. That was the move that Boeheim wanted to make. It's a 20-18 game with 10-12 to go first half.
Still in the 2-3 zone.
What has been the key to Michigan beating this 2-3?
Right there. Got it in the middle. We're able to swing the basketball.
Get it in, get it back out.
Get it in. They've been able to look down low or get the easy opportunity shot. I just think that the Syracuse team has to be a little more aggressive when they're in that 2-3 zone. They have to be aware of where their ball is and who they're playing when the man comes into their area when you're playing the zone. They just have to pick up their intensity. This is a team, Syracuse, by the way, that would prefer the players to play a man-to-man.
Left-handed shot is good by Monroe, and that's 4 for him, and we're tied again at 20. 9:40 to go, first half. Gary Grant, Sherman Duffy. That three-pointer is just off the rim, but the kick is good by Rice.
No one was even aware of where Rice was on the court. He was inside 3 Syracuse players.
The sophomore from Flint now with 11 points for Michigan. Monroe, Sherman Douglas. There's Cycling with a turnaround. 3 times he hit that jumper.
That's right. And not allow him to flash in the lane. You know, when a guy does it to you 3-4 times, you should know that, hey, I better beat this guy to the spot. You know, because after a while, the coach says, well, I got to find somebody that's going to do what we have to do to stop it.
It's going to be goaltending again. Got it on the way down. Ronnie Cycling. Take a look now at that one extra pass, Bill Cunningham. You're talking about that Michigan is using.
Now watch this. Swinging the basketball, finding the open man. There's Gobert. Great play, open shot.
And even though the shot didn't fall,
absolutely. You know, if you're Bill Frieda, you're standing up clapping. Just say, hey, that's exactly what we want to do. Don't worry about missing that shot.
Monroe left side, number 11. Trish thinks about it, passes. Underneath the Cycling, he'll take the baseline jumper too strong. And over the top, Howard Trish, number 25.
You know, Jim Boeheim was saying that one bad habit that Cycling has developed because of being in a cast for a month or two, he would go down and he'd shoot the basketball by himself and he'd stand there. And now all he's doing is settling for that shot. Instead of when he gets the ball in a position like that, looking first to power it to the basket if he has the opportunity. If he doesn't have that, then look for the jump shot.
8:29 remaining in the first half, 24-22. Loy Vaught, good.
How many times you have to say it, but right in that middle. And the thing is, you want to come from the weak side on the blind side of the player. So he's not aware of where you are, and you can just beat him to that spot in the lane.
Kramer. Coleman turnaround. Cycling, another strong rebound, and doesn't get the roll. Here comes Michigan. Thompson, great outlet pass. Gary Grant. What a move! The shot's no good, and there's a whistle in the backcourt. And well away from the ball, Sherman Douglas had drawn a foul.
Or did he commit a foul?
That's right. He had committed it.
Yeah, in the backcourt. He tried to draw the charge and was called for a block.
Timeout has been called at Chrysler Arena in Michigan with the Wolverines up by 4. 22 at the outset of the game, Bill Cunningham said he thought that Michigan had to get a lot of effort inside. And look at this, Bill.
Well, they have. They've just been moving the basketball, getting it to the right position. The key is getting it into that middle, as we saw in that one replay.
Glenn Rice with 11 points so far. Mark Hughes, who's not a scoring threat, has equaled his per-game average with 6. Gary Grant has only 2 in the backcourt. Coming up next, CBS Sports Sunday, the season premiere. Jim Ryan, John Madden, Pat Summerall. That'll feature the All-Madden team, a salute by John to the NFL's real men, the World Triathlon Championships in Nice, France, and a Super Bowl preview. That's all here next on CBS Sports. You would have made the All-Madden basketball team.
I would have?
Yes, you would have.
Why?
I'm not about to answer that.
You know, you mentioned one thing about Grant only scoring 2 points. I think he's the player on the team that doesn't have to do that. He's the floor general. He's got to keep everybody happy. So when they need the points, he can go get them for them.
Thompson, that's a 2-pointer that's blocked. And Thompson alertly with a foul. Went right off the shoulder of Cycling.
And there were 2 other Syracuse players standing around that were not even aware of where the basketball was.
5 points for guard Thompson. Largest lead of the game now at 6 for the University of Michigan. This is the 5th-ranked and undefeated Syracuse Orange men basketball team. Underneath the Cycling, he'll try to turn. Oh, he'll pass it off. Douglas.
That was a great pass by Cycling. Outstanding play. Now, Syracuse, when they run their offense against the man-to-man, they like to bring it down one side of the court and then be able to swing it to the weak side, looking to post up, in most cases, either Cycling or Coleman.
Blocked by Gary Grant. Syracuse to inbound. Douglas all the way back out to Monroe. He'll go for 3. Cycling rebound. There's what you wanted.
That's the way to take it to the basket.
First, we'll watch Cycling's pass on the play just before the out-of-bounds play.
He's going to flash across the lane. Watch down on the baseline. Douglas there. He finds him. That's great communication. I'm sure Douglas yelled to Ronnie, say, Ronnie, I'm right here for the basket. He probably won't get another pass because he blew the assist for Cycling.
Cycling now with 11 points. That equals his scoring average for the year. Missed the first 3 games of the season. with a stress fracture of his foot suffered in the World Game. 28-25, 56-55 to go in the first half.
Good movement. They got to start flashing in the lane. Michigan. There's Joubert flashing in the lane.
From the baseline. Lloyd Vaught with a rebound. Thompson loses it. Syracuse ball, and Boeheim is right there.
Yeah, he thought Chris got fouled on that rebound.
Jim is showing a little animation on this road trip.
Oh, he is, you know, but I think his personality fits the Young Ball Club very well on the road. You know, that on the road, a big test for them. We know they're number 5. It's a little questionable, their schedule.
That rebound by Cycli.
See him flip it, not go strong. You know, as a former coach and as a coach, you deal with negative so much because you want to see a perfect game, a perfect player. So, you know, at times maybe I'm a little too negative about some things some players might do.
You ever seen a perfect game?
No, I haven't.
Ever seen a perfect player?
No, but you have to always strive for it. I mean, if you stop striving for it as a player, a coach, or anyone, then you're in the wrong business.
Cycli with the turnaround. Rebound, Gary Grant. Michigan now leads by 1.
Yes.
Oh, now they lead by 3.
Was that beautiful? Had his head up the whole way down the court, weaving on that fast break, and fouled Thompson on the wing.
Back to a 3-point Michigan lead. 5:40 to go first half. And the steal again. Here comes Gary Grant. Look at the change of pace. And the layup. Syracuse, one timeout. Watch why. Here's Gary Grant. Way before.
Okay, watch this. He comes out of the pack with the rebound. Now, right away, somebody on Syracuse defensively has got to stop him. Right there, he's able to push it. Just kept his head up. If you're a young man learning to play basketball, a young boy, you got to keep your head up on a fast break situation.
Then he came back and got 2 more timeouts. Syracuse, 5-point Michigan lead. Gathered here in the warmth of Chrysler Arena in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Somewhere in this crowd, Dan Deerdorf is going to join us at halftime, and I'm not sure where he is right now. Dan, what are you up to?
Vern, I just had to come over to Michigan Stadium and take a look around and relive some fond memories. I'll be back inside, though, in time for halftime, where we'll have scores and highlights of other games. We'll go live to Pasadena. Tim Ryan and John Madden will have a Super Bowl report, plus a preview of the All-Madden team. And then a profile on a young Michael Jordan. His name is Roy Marble, and he's at Iowa. All this and more coming up at halftime on the College Basketball Report. Vern?
He obviously knows euchre.
It was his day today.
How about Gary Grant's performance so far?
Just playing outstanding basketball. It just proves, you know, when you're a lead guard, you know, scoring is fine in situations, but your leadership offensively and defensively for your team is the most important thing.
5:20 to go first half. Michigan up by 5. Howard Trish, number 25.
And one of the big things he said about Grant, he had to stop the penetration of Douglas, and he's done that so far today.
Bounce pass to Coleman, but Glenn Rice draws the foul. Now Douglas is out of the lineup again. That tendonitis may be bothering him.
Yeah, he's dragging that foot a little bit. I'm sure he's in a little bit of pain, but when you have that, the thing is when you get cold, that's when it's tough. And if you can get out there and fight through a little bit of pain and get it nice and warm, you're usually in pretty good shape to play the rest of the ball game.
Thompson back in. Greg Monroe looks his way and says, come get the ball. Howard Trish, dandy pass. And then shot is short.
You know what happened? He thought about dunking it, then he decided, I don't think I can get up that high from a standing position, and missed the layup.
Michigan with a chance to go up by 7 now. 4:43 to go first half.
As well as Michigan played, they're only up 5 points, though.
Joubert, number 11. Back to guard Thompson, number 30. Largest lead of the game was 6 at 28-22. Thompson drives the lane, goes in the left side. Gary Grant, skip pass to Joubert. Off-balance shot and the rebound, Syracuse Coleman.
That's a fourth shot. Didn't have the good shot. As a matter of fact, Thompson should have got the ball he passed up to Grant.
Monroe, Michigan man-to-man, still employed.
You know, Syracuse hasn't been able to get that ball inside the Coleman.
Cycling, tips away. Michigan ball again.
Those quick hands of the Michigan guards.
Guard Thompson all the way, puts it up, can't hit.
I think the big thing was him coming out and hitting that first shot, getting himself involved in the offense, and they've done a great job as a team moving the basketball.
Thompson has 9. Now a Trish.
Syracuse, great pass. Great pass in there.
Cycling gets the stuff. It's a 34-29 game now with 3:20 to go first half. And Cycling with a big effort thus far with 13 points to lead all scorers.
The Syracuse team really reflects their coach's demeanor. You know, you don't see a lot of emotion on their face or just clapping their hands, let's go. You know, Jimmy's a very low-key guy.
Gilbert passes inside, right travels.
That's intimidation. Just the presence of Cycling forced that turnover.
Turnovers are now tied 8-8. Ball will be inbounded by Barry Coleman right in front of his family as Bill Frieder looks on.
You know, at that situation, Rice is just taking that ball up and challenge Cycling. Hey, if you get the shot blocked, so what? But you can't be intimidated in that fashion. You got to take it strong to the hole.
Monroe. Cycling over the top. Might draw the foul. Let's see if he got it. Yep. All 6'10" of him draped over the back.
But that was perfect defensive position by Hughes on the board. He had his body between the basket and his man. Now the shot goes up. You see him at the right there, checking him off the boards, having his body between the man and the basket.
Glenn Rice comes out now for the University of Michigan. Loy Vaught has come in. There's Vaught, number 35. He leads his team in blocked shots despite coming off the bench. And Mark Hughes, number 55, is at the line. Sherman Douglas back in along with Herman Hareed, number 33. So Jim Boeheim goes in. Ronnie Cycling will come out for the first time.
I don't think that Jimmy Boeheim, if I'm not mistaken, technically has 2 fouls. He doesn't want him to pick up his 3rd foul right here with 2:44 to play. He wants to make sure that he comes out. He's aggressive to start this second half.
That's 8 points now for the center, Mark Hughes. He's not a scoring threat. Averaging only 6 per game for the year. And a 36-29 Michigan lead with 2.5 to go first half. Trish baseline, trap, and near field, but Gilbert gets the foul. Near the conclusion of today's CBS Sports NCAA basketball broadcast, Billy and I will be selecting a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game from each team. Chevrolet donates a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of each school. That's 16 fouls. Ronnie Cycling on the bench. Sherman Douglas with the turnaround. And Trish with the jumper.
Good ball movement. They did an excellent job defensively stopping Douglas from getting into the lane, but he found Trish for the open jump shot.
Lead is now 36-31 with 2:09 to go first half. Antoine Gilbert. Gary Grant looks inside for Vaught.
They're getting a little more aggressive with their zone.
Coleman was the man who was the real key to that, denying that ball. Now here's Syracuse with the rebound. Thompson, left-handed shot to Trish. Difficult turnaround jumper is not there. But Syracuse will get the ball back.
In a year when Coleman is able to lift some weights and get a little stronger, when he gets his 2 hands on that ball, that should be his. And that would have been an easy 2 points for him. But, hey, Cycling is on the bench, and this team is moving along pretty nicely.
They've cut the lead down from 9 to 5. Mike Griffin, the freshman redshirt out of Franklin Park, Illinois, is in the lineup now for Michigan.
He had a big game against Michigan State, scored 12 points.
Thompson will go to the line. Loy Vaught draws the foul. And Stephen Thompson, player of the year in Los Angeles when he came all the way east to play in Syracuse.
He just liked the tempo of the basketball, he said, in the East Coast. He felt that it was a quicker tempo. He had followed Syracuse very closely on TV and felt that would be a great place for him to go.
Matter of fact, he told you what, it was either going to be ACC or Big East.
That's right.
And you couldn't talk him into North Carolina?
Yeah, I'm sure Walt has it. UCLA was a little upset with that.
Thompson gets one of two, 36-32, back to a 4-point margin now. And 100 seconds to go in the first half. Griffin looks for Vaught, skip pass left side, Mark Hughes, Jerry Grant.
Two. He got fouled on that one, too, and the official didn't call it.
Sherman Douglas. Offensive foul. And Jerry Grant suckered him into it.
You know, I guess I had the opportunity to coach Reese Peak, who I thought was, and still is, a great defensive lead guard. And the way this kid at the college level works and takes so much pride in his defense is just beautiful to watch.
Are you comparing him to Peak?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
I thought we may have a blurb for next year's press guide.
He's got a ways to go to get to that level.
Oh, good touch pass. Goaltending.
That's great offense and great defense on the same play.
Underneath, Herman Hareed off the glass it in.
You know, one thing I've noticed when Hareed has been in the game in the zone, he talks to his teammates. If someone will flash in the lane, he'll be talking to Coleman and say, hey, watch out, he's flashing in the middle. Communication. You must communicate at the defensive end of the court. And this is the first time they started doing it with Hareed in the game.
Bill Frieder is going to settle for the final shot.
I would be very concerned going in at halftime if I was Bill Frieder, because my team played a heck of a first half in this ball game. And I'm only going to be up maybe 4 or 6 points or even less.
There's Coleman. Outlet pass goes to Thompson. Great move.
I'd be very concerned, even though I'm up 2 points. And Jimmy Bayon, you know, I would have to make the decision on man-to-man, or do I stay with the 2-3 zone?
Guard Thompson will go to the line as he draws the foul. Just a moment ago, you said after the touch pass, great offense, great defense, same play. Let's see if there was goaltending on that play. Take a look at it.
Watch them get the ball in the middle against the 2-3 zone, legs down, going up to the shot. That's pretty close.
That's all you're going to say? It's pretty close?
Yeah, I think it was a good block. If you really want to push me, that's a good block.
Does that ticket stand first? Guard Thompson at the line. 4 seconds to go first half.
Now Syracuse has got to be careful with the they did it, getting the ball inbounds and not turning it over.
Thompson. Been an exciting first half, and that's the end of the first half with our score, 39-36 Michigan. We'll be back with college basketball report after this message and a word from your local station.
Syracuse Orangemen trail the Michigan Wolverines 39-36. Good afternoon and welcome to the college Wolverines. Lead the Syracuse Orangemen 39-36 as Syracuse attempts to remain one of the country's 4 unbeaten teams. Another one of those unbeatens is the University of Iowa, and they're led by a Flint, Michigan product by the name of Roy Marble. And this sensational sophomore is bringing a great deal of good cheer to the good folks back in Iowa farm country.
The Great Plains. It's an area that's seen a lot of hard times lately. But this winter has brought a pleasant surprise to Iowa Hawkeye fans. A basketball team that's undefeated, ranked number 2 in the country, and led by an acrobatic sophomore named Roy Marble.
It's like bringing joy not only to the University of Iowa, but to the whole state. To be in like somewhat of a depression as far as the farm and things like that, I think that gives them something to wake up to.
And there have been many good mornings in Iowa City, and Marble is the team's unselfish leader, who's just starting to reach his full potential.
He's a phenomenal player. He rebounds, he shoots, he penetrates. He does a lot of things for our ball club.
He can take it to the hole or he can pull up for the jump shot. You know, right now I don't think anybody can stop him.
Go ahead.
But his career at Iowa was almost stopped when Dr. Tom Davis took over for George Raveling, who left to coach USC, leaving Marble with a tough off-the-court decision.
It just was shocking, to come in with a coach and to leave. And, Coach Raveling was more of a father-like figure to me. I just didn't know what to do at the time. And then after finding out that Coach Davis was coming here and deciding to stay, everything seems to be falling, right in place.
He leads us, and yet he does it in such an unselfish way. He doesn't go out to take care of William Marble. He goes out and takes care of the team, and in so doing, he rises to the top.
Under Davis, the team has gelled, even overcoming a 22-point deficit against Illinois Wednesday night. Meanwhile, Marble has been as smooth and powerful as another number 23, his idol, Michael Jordan.
I think it's very important that, Roy really just go out and try to maintain his poise and play the style of game that he knows and, not try to copy someone else.
But with all due respect, Marble has some advice for Jordan.
Michael Jordan, you're losing. He just lost. He had 40. He saw some games where he hit like 25, 26, 27, and they won, and I'm like, man, if I can see it, I think he ought to be able to see it too,
And with his priorities in order, Marble looks forward to a bright future.
I really want to get a degree, here at Iowa and then play in the NBA until I can't walk.
And keep in mind that the University of Iowa could be the #1 team in the country after UNLV's upset yesterday at the hands of Oklahoma. When we come back, Vern and Billy will have the second half of action after this word and a message from your local station.
The sellout crowd certainly has enjoyed themselves here at the University of Michigan thus far, with the Wolverines on top by 3 over the undefeated and 5th-ranked Syracuse Orangemen. Again, the first meeting between these two teams in regular season in 48 years. Vern Lundquist and Billy Cunningham. Bill, to go back at the top, you said you thought Michigan needed a big game from their inside men. Thus far, I think they've gotten it.
They have at the offensive end of the court. They haven't been hurt there, but they have, as we see right there, Syracuse scoring 25 and Michigan 23, so that's a big factor. Now, the other thing is, though, rebounding. We'll see that Michigan's out-rebounding, Syracuse is out-rebounding them 12-6, but Guard Thompson has 6 rebounds and leads all rebounders in the game, so that's an ingredient no one expected.
If you want to pick one man and focus on him here at halftime, it must be number 25, Gary Grant of Michigan.
Just playing an outstanding basketball game. A young man that averages over 23 points a game, and he's just doing the job defensively, creating turmoil. There's that great steal, stepping in, intercepting that pass, and just really putting the pressure on Monroe, either to pick up the foul or let him go for the deuce.
If you're Jim Boeheim, you've been in that 2-3 zone. Do you think about changing now, or are you going to stay with it?
One thing I might suggest if I was talking to Jim Boeheim, and I'm sure he wouldn't listen to me at all, but I would change the 2-3 maybe into a 2-1-2, trying to move Cycles up the lane more towards the foul line to eliminate those Michigan players flashing into the lane and getting those uncontested passes and up for the easy shots.
Now, what about Bill Frieder, his counterpart from Michigan?
Well, Bill Frieder, he's got to feel pretty good for 2 reasons. Okay, he's walking off at halftime up, but the thing is, his team is playing so unselfish offensively, shooting over 56% from the field in the first half. But your 2 leading scorers, Gilbert and Grant, have a total of 8 points. So you have to feel that, hey, if this goes along, they're going to get into the flow offensively, and they'll really contribute there as well. But I think that I'd be a little concerned that and go out with the same intensity defensively. We've got to do the job against Coleman, and we've got to do the job against Cycles on the inside.
Saw the field goal percentage, 55-44. This is the 5th time this year that Syracuse has trailed at halftime. 4 previous afternoons, 4 evenings, and they have won, of course, every time. Howard Trish up, Cycles, that's his 6th offensive rebound, and he also draws the foul after the basket.
Just great position. He got that position and was able to get that rebound and go up strong.
Foul on Glenn Rice. Ronnie Cycles goes to the line. Cycles now with 15 points. He was born in Athens, Greece. His mother and dad still live there. His mother just came back from Athens yesterday, as a matter of fact, and was watching the game in Syracuse. And it's her birthday today. So Cycles' three-pointer has tied it up 39-all.
Well, they have to be very proud of what their son has been able to accomplish in a very short period of time basketball-wise.
The pass was terrific. The shot wasn't.
The region is afraid of getting that shot blocked by either Coleman or by Cycles.
Cycli draws the foul from Glenn Rice. That's his third, so he becomes the first with 3 fouls.
You know, when you go into a game like this, Vern, and you know there's 2 great shot blockers on a team, there is that tendency when you get that open shot underneath that you rush things a little bit too much, and that was the case at the other end.
Greg Monroe, number 11. Starting 5 is back in now for Syracuse, including Sherman Douglas, who has been bothered by tendonitis in the first half. Monroe looks down, goes for 3, and gets it. See him look down at the line before he shot?
Well, he's the best three-point shooter on this ball club. Well, he's shooting over 46% from the three-point area, so you can't allow him to have that.
Grant counters with 3.
It's like a game of horse. Come down and you got to match the shot.
Howard Trish, number 25. It's a 42-42 ball game. Underneath the Cycli. That time he tries to go over the top for the rebound. It looks like volleyball, and Coleman is going to go to the line and shoot a couple.
Well, Cycli got away with an offensive foul going over the back. But there's that size that the Syracuse team has with Cycli. We'll see him going over the back right there. Keeping the ball alive, and here comes Coleman stepping right into your picture, getting that offensive rebound and picking up the foul.
Freshman from Detroit hitting 71% of his free throws this year. A little flat shot. No arc on that ball at all.
That's better known as a brick. Interesting that Syracuse only has 1 man on the foul line at this point of the game.
43-42, Syracuse lead.
And it looks like Jimmy Boeheim has moved Cycli a little bit up in that lane area to try and protect the man play.
Don Thompson for 3. Earlier this year against Illinois Chicago, he hit 8 of 9 from three-point range. He gets his second of this game.
Well, Jimmy Boeheim didn't think they would hurt him with the threes.
Derek Coleman, he'll shoot again.
Well, right off the bat, they're starting the second half similar to the way they started the first half on the board. Now, it'll be interesting if Ford comes in the game early for Hughes because he came in and got them settled down inside defensively on the boards, and they played better inside defense. They cannot allow this to continue if they plan on beating the Syracuse team. It does 2 things. You get in foul trouble, you get into the penalty situation earlier than you'd like to.
Coleman gets the first of 2. 6 points now in the ball game for Derek Coleman.
You know, you hear so much about defense. Well, the most important thing in defense is getting the missed shot, getting it back, getting possession. Doesn't matter what you do with your initial defense. If you play great and you let the other team get a second shot, it's a waste of valuable energy.
18 minutes and 2 seconds to go in the ball game. Tied at 45. Thompson thinks about a three-pointer. Grant takes one.
That's 3 in a row. You know, their opponents at Syracuse have only shot 27% from the three-point line.
Sherman Douglas drives right and puts it up off balance, but gets it to fall. 48-47 Michigan. Gary Grant. Glenn Rice misses the follow shot. Mark Hughes gets it.
That's just a great hustle on Michigan's part and a good block by Cycli.
Underneath to Derek Coleman. Greg Monroe, number 11. Tenacious man for man. Monroe, that's for 2. Short. Gets his own rebound. Doesn't get the roll, but Cycli gets another offensive board.
Just killing them on the defensive board.
Watch this Syracuse defense and watch Derek Coleman, who does not come out now.
Well, they're going to swing it to the corner for Grant for that open jump shot. He's got to come out and contest a little bit more. I think one of the problems with big people, when they're asked to go that far out in the court, they're a little concerned that they're going to get beat on the drive by the smaller player like Grant with his quickness.
Ronnie Cycli now with 17 points. Gets the soft roll and the fall through.
Got a great touch. Great touch.
50-49, Michigan. Syracuse 15-0. The Wolverines are 10-6.
Syracuse is in a man-to-man defense now. Stop those three-point shots.
Grant, a near air ball. It'll be Syracuse ball.
forced a turnover, forced a missed shot, forced a rush shot so far in the second half. He has come out fired up, getting to the offensive board. He has been the difference so far for this Syracuse team.
Howard Trish saw the Spurs Sunday is coming up next. Tim Ryan, Pat Summerall, John Bass, the All-Madden team. We'll have the World Triathlon from Nice, France. And a Super Bowl preview. Here's a foul.
That was Joubert trying to reach around and deny that pass inside to Chris.
And he'll sit down with 4 fouls. North Carolina defeats North Carolina State 96-78 today. And LSU leads Kentucky by 12. Wow. In the second half. Dale Brown and Eddie Sutton. Our score, 50-49, Michigan. Derek Coleman goes to the line again.
Well, what we've seen is whatever Jimmy Boeheim said to his 2 big guys to ignite them, we have seen 2 different players. Coleman has come out here so aggressive. I'm sure a big factor is coming home first time, a freshman in college, nervous playing in front of your family. But they have come out and they have a spark, and they're giving this spark to this Syracuse team. And if they're able to maintain it, it's really going to put a great deal of pressure on Bill Frieda.
Coleman now with 8 points.
Be interesting if they stay with that man-to-man.
Let's see what they've got down the court now. It's a 51-50 Syracuse lead.
Yeah, you can see right away how Douglas loves to play this man-to-man. Let me go out and get him, Coach. I can play him.
Guard Thomas hands it, however.
Well, maybe you can play him.
He picked him up 75 feet from the basket. Greg Monroe, Derek Coleman looks underneath the cycle, comes back and reloads. 52-51 with 16 minutes to go in the ballgame. Howard Trish. And the rebound by Gary Grant from the guard position, penetrating. And the reverse dribble. What a pass, and Johnson didn't ready for it.
Wasn't ready for it.
He fooled his teammate. 15-55 remaining in the ball game. Michigan is up by 1 over undefeated Syracuse.
Two things have to happen as you're getting beat on the defensive boards. Number one, your big people do a better job, or your guards, like we see Gary Grant, get up boards. Look at him push that ball down the court. Maybe a little too cute on that pass. He did all the hard work and then gets a little cute with the pass.
That's Derek Coleman's mom, as you can tell. There's no doubt which one of the 20 relatives are here is his mother. She's sitting right behind the Syracuse bench. Derek, as we said, is from Detroit.
A very proud mother, I must say.
15:48 to go in the ball game. 52-51. Michigan up by 1. Howard Trish. They get it inside the cycling. That's his favorite shot, and it's one of the few he's missed today. And Gary Grant with another rebound.
You know, he's a player. I just get the feeling, I haven't seen that much of him through his career, but that whatever his team needs, he's willing to do to try and help it win.
Roy Vaught. Rebound Trish. Syracuse. Sherman Douglas. Greg Monroe with the fake, then the bounce pass, and they find Cycli off the glass, and it won't go. Coleman gets it, however.
The pass by Douglas. He had no other choice, no other way to get that ball to Cycli without throwing a lob.
Roy Vaught counters with 2 for the Wolverines. It's a 54-53 game. Michigan back up by 1.
Well, the tempo is really picked up for both teams.
Air ball, Coleman. The battle won by Glenn Rice of Michigan.
Well, Michigan is just very fortunate. Somebody's got to get to the board besides Grant for this Michigan Ball Club.
We're live at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, Chrysler Arena. Vern Lundquist, Bill Cunningham. Syracuse trails Michigan 54-53 with 14:20 to go. This is an unbeaten Syracuse team, 15-0 against a 10-6 Michigan team. The Orange men ranked number 5 in the country. That's off balance. It was an attempt for 3, and Derek Coleman comes down with the ball. Syracuse win. They figure to move up with UNLV's defeat yesterday at Oklahoma. Monroe. That's good.
Smart move. Thompson's coming running out of the contested shot. Not under control. He just puts her on the floor, gets to another spot, gets the good shot.
One other point about this Syracuse team en route to an undefeated year, they've been averaging 48 points in the second half, almost 10 more in the second than in the first.
Oh, great halftime speeches by Jim Boeheim. That's what he told me.
Probably shoots him with a water pistol. Gary Grant. And the ball will be Michigan's the inbound. Substitutions now. Mark Hughes back in. Cycli will get a rest. Monroe gets a rest for Syracuse. Herman Hareed comes back in the lineup for the Orange Men. There's Cycli. 18 points in the ball game thus far.
This is a much smaller Syracuse team out there. Now, this is something that Bill Frieda wanted to do against the man-to-man. And he didn't see that for the first 20 minutes of this ball game. He wanted to look to post up Grant against the smaller guards of the Syracuse Orangemen, especially if Douglas was going to be playing against them. Because the two best post-up players for this team, this Michigan ball club, are Grant and Joubert.
That's only the sixth free throw of the ball game for the Wolverines. Gary Grant cans it. Hitting 76% for the year. 6 points at halftime. He's more than doubled that now. And a full court press employed by the Wolverines. Thompson takes it all the way and lays it in.
I thought turnover created by Douglas's pressure. I thought on that play that Thompson should have used his right hand going to the basket because he was very fortunate he didn't charge into the defensive man using his left hand.
Here's Douglas. Derek Coleman with a follow. Left-handed shot is up and in.
Do you think he's a great rebounder? You know, you talk about great scorers. It's that you have to have an instinct, a sixth sense to be a great rebounder. And what I've seen in this young man as a freshman, he is a great rebounder.
Underneath, Mark Hughes. Roll one. 59-58. Syracuse leads with 12:20 to go in the game. Herman Hareed, that shot is short. Coleman draws the foul. Got a little too aggressive. But watch this rebound at the other end offensively. Here is the 6'9" freshman from Detroit Northern. Up, has it. Great strength, puts the basket up, and how about that mom sitting in the second row? Do you like what your son's doing? Terrific.
It's a wonder she wasn't yelling. He should have had a three-point play on that shot.
Coleman with 13 points. It's a 59-58 Syracuse lead. Guard Thompson for three.
You just can't do that. That's just poor defense by Douglas. He has to be more aware, and I'm sure the scouting report informed him that Douglas is the best three-point shooter on this ball club.
A 2-point Michigan lead. Timeout. He did not call it in time. Douglas tried to call time, but he couldn't get it.
You can just see the intensity of this Michigan ball club has really picked up defensively.
Now, one official has overruled the other, and instead of the violation, timeout has been called. Michigan up by 2, 61-59 over the unbeaten Syracuse Orangemen. 11:42 to go. Coming up next Saturday on CBS. Most of you will see St. John's versus Syracuse, or others in the South will watch Western Kentucky against LSU at 1:30 Eastern. On the West Coast, it'll be Tulsa and USC at 3 o'clock Pacific time. And the entire country will watch the Lakers and the Dallas Mavericks, and Bill Cunningham and I will be in Dallas for that one. That's live at 3:30 Eastern time next week. Watch this defensive pressure by Michigan just before the
Just
timeout.
outstanding, and I think that dunk at the other end of the court ignited this ball club. Even that, what that does is when you put pressure on a team like that, especially a team that hurts you inside, this forces them out on the court.
Thompson misfired. Gary Grant comes up on it. 3-on-2. Grant pulls up, lets it go, and will shoot a couple.
Well, they were able to bring that intensity out of the huddle and just keep it going. That was smart decision by Grant, not looking to push the ball too deep. There was a defensive man between he and the basket. Did the best thing, pulled up for the jump shot.
Gary Grant so far 2 of 2 shooting free throws.
You know, during this past week, Anton Gilbert had the flu, and I just wonder if that's bothering him a little bit because he is just, he's on the bench right now, but he has been out of the flow of the offense and the defense. He just looks a step slow, not reacting the way he normally does.
To a three-point edge for the moment for Michigan. Largest lead for them has been 7. The largest Syracuse lead, 3. Grant increases the lead back to 4 with 11:30 to go in the ball game. 63-59. The crowd in the student section right behind the Syracuse goal is on their feet. Herman, Hareed. Let's check the Syracuse lineup now. Monroe, Thompson, Hareed, Trish, and Cycling.
You know, with this defensive pressure, they're not looking inside the way they did earlier.
Derek Coleman getting ready to come back in the lineup for Syracuse. Stephen Thompson out of Los Angeles. Douglas also getting ready to check back in. There's the rejection. Loy Vaught, 2-on-1. And Grant, offensive foul.
Excellent call by the official. Grant should have pulled up or gotten the ball into the middle of the court and shot the jump shot or made the pass. Now here's watch this block by Vaught. Excellent play. Grant's able to push it. Now see, he's got someone on the wing. Pull up, shoot the ball, or make the pass. But make sure you get a good shot out of an opportunity like that.
Second foul on Gary Grant.
And because of that early second half spurt on the board, we see where Syracuse is now in the penalty situation with more than 10 minutes to play in this half.
Greg Monroe getting ready to shoot. Cycling standing back behind the basket. What was it Jim Boeheim was saying yesterday as a trivial note about Syracuse? They could start 5 left-handers.
5 left-handers. Best left-handed team, he said, ever. I don't know if that's good or bad.
That'll be a footnote in there. No kidding. Well, you could make the Cunningham all left-handed team.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe I'll come out of coaching retirement.
Monroe, 3-on-3. Monroe heads to his right, looks underneath, misses Cycling, who was open.
Yeah, he just doesn't look comfortable handling the ball in the middle. Boy, they're active defensively. Just reacting so well. They get beat, they help each other defensively.
And Douglas, injury timeout. That's that reoccurrence of the tendonitis that bothered him all through practice yesterday.
That is painful if you've ever experienced it. But again, if he can just work through it and get himself good and warm, then I think it wouldn't bother him very much from that point on for the remainder of the game.
Now time back in. Derek Coleman will inbound. Stolen, Gary Grant. 3-on-1 break, and Grant takes it up and puts it in.
Well, we just see the turnovers that they're able to create. And they're not, and Syracuse isn't getting a chance to utilize their size and strength on the inside because they're not getting any shots at the basket.
Gary Grant urges the crowd on. Coleman, Cycling with a rebound, spin move, foul, he'll shoot 2.
That's the way you got to go strong to the basket.
This Michigan crowd has been remonstrated for not being an active 6th man here. That time, Gary Grant urged the crowd on. Look at Sherman Douglas, hampered by that tendonitis. 2 points today with a season average of 17.1. Cycling on the line, 11 rebounds now, 8 of them offensive rebounds.
I think there's a couple things I'd like to point out. Because of the pressure that Michigan has been able to apply, number one, they've taken Syracuse completely out of their game plan offensively.
Foul on Coleman. That's his 4th.
And Hareed is coming in the game for Coleman.
Herman Hareed checks into the lineup. Derek Coleman on the bench now with 4. Syracuse comes in with a 15-0 record, including 4 games in the Big East. But many have cast aspersions at the record as not being the strongest schedule of the teams to play. Gary Grant doesn't fall. Possession arrow now going to Michigan.
Now, a couple of things. As I mentioned, the defensive pressure has really taken Syracuse out of the play. But we see now that Syracuse is going to the man-to-man defense, that Grant is getting more involved looking for his shots against the man-to-man. When they played the zone, he was looking to move the basketball. Other people were contributing a little bit more in the shooting area for this Michigan ball club.
Jack Kramer, freshman from Quincy, Illinois, checks in now for the Wolverines. And Michigan will inbound. Roy Vaught gets the rest. Kramer looks over the offensive setup. 10:05 to go in the game. Mark Hughes, number 55. It's Grant, Kramer, Hughes, Glenn Rice, and Thompson again for 3. Off-balance block. And here comes Syracuse. 65-61 with 9:50 to go from the baseline. Good, strong rebound. Rice, backcourt foul. Hareed.
That was a man rebounding that missed shot. Watch him go up and get this rebound right here. Now, right now, Grant is back in the basketball game. He was out for around 5 seconds.
That's right.
I was just going to say it's going to be interesting to see how they respond without him because they have had problems when he's not been on the court.
Antoine Joubert stays on the bench. Guard Thompson, Gary Grant. What a move. Blocked by Cycling.
Just great play.
The turnover goes Michigan's way. Here's Grant. Covered.
But you see in the second half what the turnovers have done to this basketball game for Michigan. They have had that was getting killed on the board, but now they've been able to create the turnovers with their great intensity defensively.
Cycling, that's his favorite shot. And that quiets the crowd for the moment.
That's where they need his leadership. They have to have the confidence in Syracuse ball club that, hey, who are we going to go to when things are going a little bad? Do we have a man? And he's got to be the one to step forward and take that responsibility.
Especially today with Douglas out of the game, I think, with the tendonitis. He's obviously been hurt. Now Coleman is going to come back into the lineup despite the 4 fouls. Let's go back and take a look at Ronnie Cycling with the block.
You have to have great court awareness to be a great shot blocker. Now watch what he does. Bang, but he banged it nice and easy off the board, and one of his teammates were able to get the basketball. That's such a big factor with young players. Young players like to knock it into the stands and get the crowd going.
Mark Hughes.
He just went up and shot that right over Coleman. Now Coleman's in the basketball game with 4 fouls.
Hughes is only 1 point shy of his career high. He's got 12 in the game. He's not a scoring threat. Chris Douglas spins, puts it up, tipped, too strong. And Hughes is taken down. Michigan has it with a chance to go up by 8. And Grant says, cool down, everybody, slow it.
Now this is going to be a great test for the Syracuse ball club. Another block shot by Cycling. And an easy 2.
Douglas off the glass.
The big thing is, as we talked about, their schedule has not been the strongest. They've played a lot of games in the Carrier Dome. Now this is a nice test for this ball club. Jimmy Boeheim will have a better feeling as to see how his ball club is going to react to tough situations.
69-65 with 7:30 to go in the game. Timeout. Called by Michigan. We'll return to Chrysler Arena after this word from your local station. Sold-out crowd at Chrysler Arena. Vern Lundquist, Bill Cunningham, Jim Boeheim. What must he be telling his team right now?
I think he's telling, number one, his guards, either Thompson, Monroe, or Douglas, hey, let's make sure, I don't care what kind of defensive pressure Michigan puts on us, that we get into our set offense. Let's look to get the ball inside to our big people. We have them in foul trouble inside. Let's capitalize on that.
7:31 remaining in the game. 69-65. Michigan has the ball. And they've got Gary Grant getting ready to receive the inbound pass from Mike Griffin, number 20, along with Glenn Rice, Loy Vaught. Kramer is also in the ball game. Off guard Thompson is. And Michigan up by 4. Guard Thompson, number 30.
That's what you got to do against Thompson. Make him put it on the floor.
Strong offensive rebound by Glenn Rice.
Right there, what he did, Rice, is he forced Cyclee to commit himself. Cyclee has got to keep his feet and force Rice to commit himself at the offensive end of the court.
6 rebounds for Rice and a 6-point lead now. 6:50 to go.
Three.
That's 3.
Jimmy Boeheim let that official know it, too. As soon as he went up for that shot, he was pointing at that three-point line. Like, look at this.
Oh, with the follow.
And you wonder why Bill Frieda has gray hair.
71-70. And all of a sudden, a 6-point lead has become 1. A 3-pointer, the turnover.
The game of college basketball to me is so much greater now. That's a great screen on the baseline, freeing up Thompson. For 2 reasons. A 45-second clock and a 3-point shot. We saw 2 games last week. Illinois against Iowa, 22-point game. Iowa able to come back and win that ball game. Last week against Indiana, this Michigan team was able to come back and lose the game at the buzzer as Alfred put in the shot. But 2 years ago, those games would have been over. Teams would have been holding the basketball. People would have been leaving the stadiums because it would have been the freeze on.
There's the shoe trick.
I'll tell you.
Gary Grant tying his shoe. The freshman didn't see it. His teammate.
I am so glad I'm sitting next to you and not coaching down there on the Michigan bench when you see a play like that.
Brings back old memories.
Good memories, but things like that, you toss and turn at night.
Cycling gets 1 of 2. It's a 73-71 ball game. Michigan leads with 5:50 to go. Glenn Rice. Oh, has he had a dandy game.
Outstanding shooter from the perimeter.
15 points for Glenn Rice. 75-71, 5:35 to go. Underneath, Derek Coleman playing with 4 fouls. Cycling tips it to Douglas off the glass, and here comes Michigan. A 2-on-1 break. Grant again goes over the top, gets the roll and in.
Nice play, and it was a good play by Monroe defensively, looking to draw that charge.
It was a 6-point lead that became 1 at 71-70. Now Michigan has come back. And watch Gary Grant.
Now here he is. He's trying to force Monroe to make that decision. Monroe gets that good position defensively. It looked like I thought he moved a little bit. Even if they would have called anything, it would have been a block.
Jim Boeheim and Syracuse have called timeout. In Syracuse now, Bill Cunningham, with just a 1 timeout left.
1 timeout, but I think more importantly, this time down the court, they have to make sure they get a good offensive shot. If I was sitting in the Michigan huddle, I would be telling Bill Frieda's got to be telling, hey, let's even pick up our defensive intensity 1 more notch. And if we're able to do that, boy, we can take this game away, beat the 5th-ranked team in the country, and really get that momentum going for us and confidence for the remainder of the season.
Michigan comes in with a 10-6 record, 2-3 in Big Ten play. I think it's a given, not a given, but thought by most that at least a minimum of 4 Big Ten teams will be in postseason competition in the NCAA tournament. So Michigan may be on the bubble at the end of the year, and this would really go a long way toward improving their chances. Cycling has has two.
Well, they went to their money man, and he got that big hoop for them. Here comes the trap, looking to pressure, create a turnover.
Guard Thompson.
Glenn Rice for two more. Well, Glenn Rice is just has no fear right there. He's just going right up over both Coleman and Cycling.
There's the follow from Howard Trish.
Now, a big thing Syracuse has got. Oh, here we go with the steal. Great hustle.
That's 6'10" playing volleyball. Alley-oop. Gary Grant takes it away. Boy, the quick hands underneath. Grant with a change of pace. Glenn Rice again.
I would think Coach Zenbrecher would like to have Grant playing cornerback or free safety with the hands that he's displayed here today.
Nearing the 4-minute mark. Michigan maintains a 6-point lead. Howard Trish. That's short. Gilbert. 2-on-1 break.
Well, I'd have to talk to Gilbert about that pass. He's lucky that he got the ball back and was able to convert the shot. Now here's where experience comes. Patience.
That's a shot for three. Offensive rebound by Trish is up and good.
Okay, now, the thing is, when you're behind, you almost have to have more patience at the offensive end of the court. You can't take the quick, bad shot. Now, here's a great matchup.
Offensive foul. And 4 fouls on Glenn Rice.
Now, that field goal did not count, did it?
No. 83-77, still the score.
Plenty of time in this basketball game. Douglas has got to make sure he gets Syracuse into this set offense. Look to get it down to most likely Cycling.
Fish looks underneath the Cycling, who's setting a screen. Douglas. Guard Johnson comes over to help on Cycling. Tries to take the turnaround. Does. Offensive foul on Cycling.
But our angle, I did not see him stick that elbow out, but that official is all over that call. Now, let's see if he does. Now, there's Thompson. Yeah, he does push off. Excellent call by the official.
And that leaves it at 83-77. Cycling now with 3 personal fouls. Glenn Rice has 4 for Michigan.
And now Syracuse is going to have to extend their defense down the court. They're going to look to trap, look to put some pressure on the ball. And this team right here, Michigan's going to have to use the clock. They'll like to get this down to maybe 10 seconds on the 45-second clock before they let that shot go up.
That gives them 15 more. The shot clock now at 21. 2:43 remaining in the ball game. Thompson brings it back out.
They got to get the ball in Grant's hand to get something offensively, but they're denying the ball to him.
10 on the shot clock. Gilbert back to the freshman Griffin. 5 on the shot clock. Thompson for 3.
You know, you got to give Bill Finger a lot of praise for that. His team having the poise to use the clock and get a shot like that.
In this game, 6 of 11. Oops.
And count it. They should count that one. They do.
Yes, they do. Lloyd Vaught draws the foul.
Now, what we're going to watch is Gary Grant come. Well, the official is in the way. Steal that ball just right out of Coleman's hand, and he'll take it the length of the court. Just, young man has great hands and great anticipation.
Sneak this in. Michigan is 6 of 11 shooting the 3-pointer today.
Yeah, and Jimmy Boeheim, as I said before, did not feel that was going to be a big factor in this ballgame because the team himself has done an excellent job defensively up into this game, holding their opponent to 27% from the 3-point area.
Derek Coleman does counter with a 3-pointer version of his own. Nice pass from Thompson to Rice. Has to get it over Cycling and can't quite.
I'll tell you, that was some play by Cycling.
Monroe for 3.
Oh, what a game we got here.
86-83, 1:54 to go in the ball game. Antoine Gilbert is a 3-on-1.
Well, I'll tell you, the basket. That was great ball movement by Michigan. They had a 3-on-1 fast break situation, getting the ball down the court and got it inside. Now here's Ford. Cycling, trying to recover. You know what he should have done? The man had been too good a position. He should have let him go in for the dunk.
4 fouls on Ronnie Cycling. Frisch is in. Cycling looks up. Cycling with 4 fouls now, 23 points, and Loy Vaught with another chance for a 3-point play. It stays 88-83. Michigan with 1:44 to go in the ball game. There's 3 for Douglas.
You gotta love the 3-point line. I'll tell you, just gotta love it. It's so much more excitement. The players love it, fans love it, coaches hate it.
Loy Vaught. And another foul. This one, Coleman, that's it for him.
Michigan has done a great job looking to attack when they look to pressure, going to the basket with the basketball. Thompson creates that penetration. The pass, excellent play by Thompson.
Coleman has fouled out. It's 90-86. Michigan with 1:26 to go. Remaining in the ball game, Syracuse unbeaten but trailing by 4, 90-86. Vern Lundquist, Bill Cunningham here. Ronnie Cycling now. Syracuse with 1 timeout left and Michigan with 3.
Well, Syracuse has the right man on the line. Ford is shooting 36% from the foul line.
No basket. Offensive goaltending is the call.
Now, the thing Syracuse has to have is good patience. They're only down 4 points. Look to get it inside. Look to get the good shot. And now we know Michigan's got to really pick up their intensity defensively and make sure they do the job on the board.
Monroe back to Sherman Douglas. Off balance try for 3. Cycling is fouled by Loy Vaught, number 35.
Now right there, Douglas showed a little inexperience, I would think, taking that quick shot burn. They didn't need that 3-point shot. They're only down 4 points. Make sure it's a good one. If he had an open shot, that's fine.
I'm sure that's what Jim Boeheim is telling him right now. He and Greg Monroe. Yeah. Cycling at the line.
Especially when you're not a real good 3-point shooter. He's only shooting 20% from the 3-point line.
Now Michigan uses 1 of its 3 remaining timeouts. So they'll stop the clock before Cycling hits his second. Go back to the top of this broadcast. Well, we're going to give you a chance to think about it. Then we'll go back to the top of the broadcast. In the meantime, timeout. Syracuse started 33 games. His team won all 33. At Syracuse, he has started 15 games. He's undefeated. This might be the first time Sherman Douglas has started a game as a basketball player and lost. It's 90-87 with 1:15 to go in the ball game. And Douglas' team still very much alive in this ball game because Cycling has another free throw, and that should cut the margin to 2. 25 points for Ronnie Cycling, 1:11 to go in the ball game.
I'll be interested to see if that Indiana game, which they lost by a point, will help Michigan here in a tight situation, tough basketball game.
Whistle, foul away from the ball.
On board. Came down to set a screen, a moving screen. Right there was a play. It wasn't Ford's fault. It was Thompson's fault, not waiting for the screen and letting the man get that position and then coming out looking for the basketball.
That's 5 on Loy Vaught. And the freshman from Grand Rapids, Michigan, will have to take a seat.
And he's played a well of a basketball game. While he's been on the court, we've seen where Syracuse has not been as strong on the offensive boards. He was a big factor to start the game when he came off the bench and in the second half. Played a well of a basketball game.
Boeheim taking advantage of the time until Bill Frieder makes his substitution. Now Mark Hughes does come back in. Don't forget, coming up next, CBS Sports Sunday. John Madden, Pat Summerall will be out in California for the All-Madden team. World Triathlon Championship and a Super Bowl preview.
I wonder if Jimmy Boeheim knew that he'd be possibly tying the game up with 1:02 to play. Well, or down to, he would have kept Coleman in the basketball game and not saved him for this point of the game.
Less than a minute to go as Douglas misses the first free throw.
Okay, straight man-to-man. They got to play good, solid defense. The thing they would look to do is keep the ball out of that man's hand as the clock runs down.
Guard Thompson, number 30, and we're at the 42nd mark. In 1918, the Syracuse team won its first 16 games of the year. 5-second violation and a chance to tie it up.
That's just great defense right there by Chris. We're out there on Jabert. Well, where do you go with the ball, Vern? You got the basketball here. You're Syracuse. What are you going to look to do?
I go for Ronnie Steikley and hope he's working against Mark Hughes.
Yeah, I'd like Monroe to handle the basketball and make that entry pass for the possibility of the outside shot, ball looking right inside to Steikley.
Steikley's on the left side. Timeout, Syracuse. That is their last. And Jim Boeheim says we've got 19 seconds left. Let's talk about it. We've got 19 seconds remaining in this ball game. It's 90-88. Michigan leads the undefeated Syracuse Orangemen. And don't forget, coming up next, season debut of CBS Sports Sunday. The all-Madden team, Pat and John, will be in Pasadena for that. The World Triathlon Championships on tape from East France. And a Super Bowl 21 preview, also from the Rose Bowl. All of that is coming up next on CBS Sports Sunday.
You know, I wonder if Jim Boeheim is going to look to win this game in regulation. What I mean by that, Vern, is he going to look for the three-pointer at this point? Does he feel that, hey, let's look for that long three-pointer right now, which isn't that long, with Monroe most likely?
If he is on the road, would he be more likely to do that than he would if Syracuse played for the tie at home, go for the three-pointer and the win on the road?
Well, you know, I'm not sure what he actually will do. Obviously not sitting in the huddle. But I would want it, as I said a little earlier, though, I would like Monroe to have the basketball, and I'd like to go inside the Steikley. He's the big, powerful guy in there. He's been the money man down the stretch for this ball club. Let's just wait and see what he actually does.
The most valuable players of the game today are Ronnie Steikley, who had 25 points, and Gary Grant, the floor leader of Michigan. A check in the amount of $1,000 will be donated to each college's General Scholarship Fund to further assist qualified students in all chosen academic fields.
Now, the other thing, Michigan's got to come out and decide, hey, what are we going to do defensively? Now, they had great success a little earlier, putting a lot of pressure on the ball out of bounds. Monroe with the ball here, and we're able to create a turnover. I would expect them, with no timeouts for Syracuse, to come out, look to deny, overplay the entry passes, and maybe pick up a steal, but they're doing just the opposite.
See, the game's passed you by.
Boy, hasn't it? I'll tell you.
90-88. Undefeated Syracuse trails. Trish goes left side. Thompson. There's Steikley. Glenn Rice with the rebound. Now the freshman Kramer. Griffin. And a foul with 3 seconds remaining.
Well, you know, Jimmy Boeheim got his team to do exactly what he wanted them to do. They got the ball into Steikley, and he turned, and he had the good shot. A little off balance, but he went up. That's what they wanted. They wanted to get it to the big guy.
And it was Mike Griffin, the freshman redshirt from Franklin Park, Illinois, who finally came out with the ball, and Gary Grant could ice it with one more free throw.
Now, the problem that Syracuse has, even if he misses no timeout, they got to get the ball down that court quickly and throw it up.
Still a chance to tie.
He's got to let it go.
Chris from midcourt. Terrific ball game, Bill.
Absolutely a great basketball game. Both teams played outstanding basketball. The difference was that in the second half, Michigan was able to create the turnovers and take away the inside play for the most part of this Syracuse ball club.
Don't forget, coming up next, the season premiere of CBS Sports Sunday. NCAA basketball has been a presentation of CBS Sports. For Bill Cunningham, Bert Lundquist, so long. Don't forget, CBS Sports Sunday is next.